Hey, Katrina here from Scrappy Horses. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm so happy you're here. I am working on another kit journal. And yes, I say another because about a month ago, I did a very rough video on one of these journals where I just sort of filmed my figuring it out. And I didn't really have measurements. I didn't have a pattern for you. This time I have it all together for you and I can use all the numbers. So if you're someone who likes to craft by the numbers, this video, you're gonna like it a whole lot more. This video cover is also different than my last one because I've used some chipboard pieces and I've really blinged it out, as you can see here. I call it a keep it together journal or a kit journal because the pocket on the front really does keep it all together. I've got a pencil, I've got watercolor pencils, I have paintbrushes, and it's all right here ready to go. All right, so let's just pull this off to the side. Let's take a look at this. You can see here I have 4 different spring papers in this. The reason I'm pointing that out is because this is for a challenge over at Path of Positivity, and the challenge is to use 4 spring papers. So I wanted to make sure that everyone could see those 4 spring papers in my project. All right, as we look here at Cricut Design Space, you can find that I have all of the pieces and I have their dimensions. I cut everything here on the paper slicer except the spine guide and the page hole guide. Those are the only 2 pieces that I cut with my Cricut Design Space on my Cricut cutter. That was it. Those are the only 2 pieces. I cut 4 pieces of cereal box measuring 5 by 7 inches. 1 piece of cereal box for the spine, 0.75 by 7 inches. And then I have one other spine piece, which I also cut from cereal board, 0.75 by 6.75 inches. Okay, now that's all of the pieces that are represented in the black color. This kind of creamy color, these are my pages, and they actually measure 9.625 by 6.75. Keep in mind, they get folded in half, and that's why they do not look this size. And in fact, if I click this, it says 4.81, okay? All right, and again, this is all cut at my paper slicer, okay? These pages represented by the pink, approximately 4.75 by 6.75, and there are 2 of them. And this one in the middle is 0.75 by 6.75. Okay, so a little shorter. And this piece of designer paper right here will cover this piece right here. Okay, all right. Now, I believe I may have also actually cut a piece of designer paper that was 0.75 by 7, if I remember right, and put it here on this one also. So I will add that. Okay, now I have this piece added right here, and it's going to go over this piece right here. Okay, and I'll just lay it right here. I'll lay it right up here. All right, that's where we'll put that. The blue represents the fabric, the denim that I used. All right, let's move on now to the 2 pieces that you're going to want to cut on your Cricut Design Space. That is the spine guide and the page hole guide. And I'm going to bump this up so we can see it better. Here they are. Now, when you punch the holes, these holes are already punched for you. There's nothing to do here. This is a score line that you can fold, and the holes are already there for you. It shows you right where to put the holes on the pages. Just line this up with the page and you'll punch your holes. For the spine guide, your holes are going to go, I'm going to bump this one more time for us. Your holes are going to go 1, 2, 3. So you've got hole, hole, hole at these intersections of where these lines cross. This is your center line, and this is a center. So there's going to be a hole here, and then you have a hole here and here, and a hole here, here, and here. And you are going to need to punch those with a paper piercer. And I'm going to show you how to do that in the video. But I just wanted to point that out because we have a nice close-up here that we can really see where those holes are going to go. They're right at where these score lines, they are score lines, and it's where these score lines intersect. That's where the holes are. All right, this is available to you. So you can come back and look at this anytime you like. I'm going to give you the actual Cricut Design Space page where you can just go get these. If you have Cricut Design Space, you can print it straight from mine. I can pretty much assure you that these holes, these guides work because I did make my book from these guides. Okay, and you'll see that in the video. All right. Of course, if you have any comments or questions, I am more than happy to help. Just leave them below. But for now, let's head on over to the craft table. Let's put this book together. It's a lot of fun. Here we are at the craft table. Let's go through the pieces. I have my 4 pieces of 5x7 cut out of cereal board. I have my piece of denim there. You can see that. I have my 0.75 by 7 inch, and I have my 0.75 by 6.75. So I have cut one of each of those. Here is my designer paper for the inside, and I'll go through that here in a minute, but here's my 6.75 by 7.5. And then I have my 2 guides. There they are. And again, those guides are available to you, and I'll leave that link in the box below. So if you follow it, if you have Cricut Design Space, you'll be able to print those. I'm using double F thread. I have a paper piercer, or a piercing tool, I guess I should say. And here comes my designer paper. It's from Close to My Heart. It's retired, of course. These 2 pieces of designer paper are for the front and back insides of the journal. Now, I actually have this already put together, but don't worry, you're going to see me put it together. These are my pages 9.625 by 6.75. There's 6 pages per system, 3 systems in the book, and then I have 3 system covers in the book. And I'm going to flip through this very quickly because you're going to see me put this together later in the video. Through video editing, right? I have it sort of out of order here. So you can see my 4 different papers there. All right, so the next thing we want to do is we want to come in and start adhering these pieces of cardboard to each other. But before we do that, I just want to show you that you're going to need some scissors. And yes, I'm one of those people who have to have 2 pair. I have to have one for my fabric and one for the paper products. You'll also need some double score tape, and you'll need the Fabric-Tac and a piercing foam piece. If you don't have that, a foam book or something will work. A ruler and pencil are always quite handy also when working on these books. I have some Close to My Heart embellishment pieces. You're also going to see me bring out some bling and some goodies like that. So let's get started. All right, like I said, we're going to take these pieces of cereal board and we're going to glue two pieces together so that it's sort of two ply. It's a double layer, okay, on your front and your back cover. So I'm using the Fabric-Tac as well as double score tape, and then I'm just going to put them together so that the front has two pieces and the back has two pieces. The spine I'm leaving as one piece because it's going to get another piece on top of it in just a minute. All right, so here we go. We're going to put our designer paper on there. This is the one that measures 7 inches, and you'll be able to see that when we lay it all out on the fabric. Taking the fabric, flipping it over, and all I've done is mark the middle by folding it over. Now I'm going to come in and lay my pieces out on top of the fabric. I have about a 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 of an inch folding over all the sides. Okay, so here we have the, again, Fabric-Tac and double score tape going on all of my cereal board. I'm gluing it right down onto the fabric. Now you can see that I also am using a stamp block to just sort of press that down and make sure that it's laying very, very flat on that fabric. Now I also want you to notice right here that I am leaving space between the spine and the covers. This is what will make your journal open and close easily and lie flat and such while you're working in it. All right, I am mitering the corners, and now I'm pulling those sides down to sort of train the fabric. Now I'm actually putting the glue in as well as the double score tape, and I'm pulling it down over. Now, why do I use both? All right, the double score tape gets it to hold quickly, while the Fabric-Tac will work to help those edges and that denim not to fray, and it will also just give it a little more lasting power, keeping it closed down there. All right, I did not feel I needed to clamp these. I felt like the tape and the glue held it down well enough that I did not need to clamp it. But if you feel like your fabric is coming up, you can always put some clothespins or some clamps, and that will hold it down for you. I'm bringing in my designer paper now, and I'm bringing that in. Remember, leave those spots of fabric. Don't try to cover the paper all the way across. That's what makes your journal open and close easily. So leave those alone. All right. All right, so I'm laying in my paper and I'm putting it right over so it covers up the denim. And the glue that you're using here, again, is going to keep that denim from doing any fraying. All right, so here are the pages in my first signature. I've chosen to go with sketch paper, graph paper, and mixed media paper. And what I'm going to do here is I have my piece. It's a pattern here that tells me exactly where I want to punch these holes. And so I can come in now and just follow the pattern and just punch right through those holes. All right. All right, so I have punched that. I'm going to go ahead and do the other two signatures, punching the holes in those. And then I will come in and do the covers. Now, if you don't have one of those foam mats to poke through, you can use an old workbook or old tablet or something if you want to. These are the signature papers for that book. And then you're going to come in and use some double score tape, and you're going to cover this piece. This is your spine piece. You're going to cover that with your design paper to match your inside. Here's the guide how you'll poke the holes that will hold your signatures in place. So I'm just taking my tool here and poking through, and you just want to be sure to make them big. Well, not huge, but you know, big. So I kind of stick in and work my way around there and make them a little bigger. and you'll be able to see when I flip this over. You can't see because of the pattern of the paper. All right, now I'm going to take in a tapestry needle, some double F thread, and that's what I'm going to use to bind. I'm going to start with about 24 inches of this thread. I'm using pink because I think it'll look cute in this book. You can use any color you like, obviously. I'm really not sure where you would buy this thread. I have it because I play oboe, and these are what we bind oboe reeds with. All right, so what I'm going to do is poke through the top. All right, then I'm going to come through one of my signatures and go through the top of the signature cover. Then I'm going to go through the signatures. It's important that you make sure that you keep that tail, all right? So you see me pull it back out there. Now I'm going to go to the inside where my thread is, poke through the middle, then poke through the middle of the cover there, and then I'm going to go through again the spine piece. All right, again checking that tail. Then from the outside I poke through the spine part, then I'll come up through the cover and then up through my stack of papers, or the signature. I believe that's what it's called. All right, so now I have all of this and I'm pulling that thread very tight. I'm going back to the center hole and I'm going to go through and pull that through, and then I'm going to knot it up at the top. So again, I'm making sure that it's all in the way I like it before I knot. I'm going to pull this as tight as I can, hold it, and then knot it. You want to keep those threads really taut. You don't want slack in there. Now I'm going to go ahead and just knot this a couple more times because, you know, if you knot it once, it's good. If you knot it 3 times or 4 times, it's even better, right? I'm going to do the same process now with the second signature. I'm going to come in, I'm going to poke a hole through the cover of my signature and now through the stack. All right, now I'm going to go ahead, pull that all the way through the inside to the middle, and then follow this process again, coming out on the back side, whoops, lost my thread, and going back through the bottom. Sort of makes a figure 8 with your thread. All right, so you're in, out, that kind of thing. All right, so we're going to come back up, go through the middle, and then bring it back up and tie it off again with that string that's already there from your first signature. All right, again, you want to hold it as taut as you can. Make sure your pages are in nice and tight. Now I need to rethread my needle, so I'm going to cut off about 12 more inches. Thread my needle, and we're going to go through the same thing again, except this time, since I'm starting with a new thread, I'm going to go ahead, poke through the signature, the spine, rather, I'm sorry, poke through the spine, and then tie my tails together, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and just tie that in, and that'll lock it into place. And then I don't have to worry about that slipping. Now I'm going to come back through my signature cover and my stack, back through again, then back up to the bottom of it, and then there we are. We're almost finished, almost finished. Back through the center, pull through, and we tie it off again. All right, I didn't speed up too much through this. I know it's kind of boring to watch, but if you've never done this before, it might be a little simpler if I go a little slowly. Oh, there's my granddaughter's finger. She wanted to help, and I thought, well, sure, she can slip her finger in there and hold that for me. So there we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and clip those threads, and then we can tape it all into place. All right, so now I'm pulling those down and I'm catching them between my double score tape and the cereal box part of the spine there. Now you see there are two there that are still kind of running amok. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and pull them in and let them stick down onto the tape that's already there and stick my second piece in. That's it. We have our signatures in place. Now we're going to take this entire piece and we're going to lay it down on top of the spine. So first, let's put in some double score tape and Fabric-Tac. We're going to lay this in right on top of that piece. And we're going to get in there and really push it in from the sides as well as from the middle. And there it is. The book is actually done now. All right, let's get some decor on this and get our packet on. Let me tell you, you need a child's pair of jeans for this, like a boy's pair. An adult pocket will not fit on this, so be sure you measure carefully to be sure before you go ripping up your jeans that your pocket's going to fit. All right, so I'm looking through some different pieces, trying to decide what I want to use. And I had these little floral gems, and I thought they were really cute. So I got out my Copic markers, and I started coloring those, and I colored a bunch of them. And I colored a bunch of just little embellishing gems there, just clear ones to use also. So I'd have a variety of colors. Now I'm going to come in and I just used a little bit of Fabric-Tac and I'm just dipping them into the Fabric-Tac and then just laying them on the pocket. I sped this up quite a bit because you definitely didn't want to sit through watching that. But it was definitely worth it because it was very cute when it was done. All right, I'm carefully taking off the Wrangler tag. I'm going to use that Wrangler tag, of course, on one of my horse projects. But I took that off and I've decided to go with a little piece from the Close to My Heart embellishment set. And then I'm going to come in, they're just die cuts is what they are, chipboard die cuts is what they are. And I'm going to layer those chipboard pieces up. And then I'm going to use some more of our double score tape as well as Fabric-Tac and just adhere it right onto the pocket. Now, because we left the one layer on the back of our pocket, we can just cover that entire back pocket with Fabric-Tac. All right. So there it is. The entire pocket is there along with the back part of the jeans, right? So we can just cover that up, cover the entire thing, and that will hold it in place pretty securely. And our book is done. All right, friends, that was so much fun. Hey, if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. I'm going to leave you all the information as well as the link to the Path of Positivity Challenge. So come join us. It's a lot of fun over there. It's always an anything goes option. So if you are not into 4 spring papers on your project, that's okay. Come join us with Anything Goes. Hey, have a great week and I'll catch up with you in the next video. Bye.